Donald Trump gave his first address to Congress of his second administration last night. And much as anticipated, he spent 100 minutes straight lying, exaggerating, and generally slandering various groups of people in America, including LGBTQ people as well as immigrants, quite frequently throughout his speech. And the Democrats, in my opinion, response was it left a little to be desired. Now, there were some highlight moments that I'm going to point out to you guys here, and I'm going to show them to you. But what I'm going to do is kind of show you some other examples of resistance from a party to an opposition party in power, and kind of envision perhaps what the Democrats could have done better last night in response to Trump's speech, referencing these other instances where a party stood up to a bigger party. So first, we're going to look at Melanie Stansbury, the congresswoman from my home state of New Mexico, with a sign that says, "This is not normal," as Trump walks down the aisle to the floor of Congress, and gets the sign ripped out of her hand by none less than a Texan, which New Mexicans are not gonna, it's not gonna sit well with anyone from New Mexico having a sign ripped out of her hand by a Texan. So let's go ahead and look at this clip here. Stansbury there on the right. And then he gets it, as you saw there, she gets it ripped out of her hand by this guy here in the blue suit, and it almost falls and hits Trump as it's being ripped out of her hand. Let's watch that again here real quick. There it is, falling down, almost hitting Trump. So I think she took that really well, standing there stoically after having her sign ripped out of her hand. And I very much liked the idea of having the signs and standing there as Trump entered the gallery. But as the night went on, I think that the Democrats needed to escalate their responses as Trump's lying and demonization of different groups of people in America continued to escalate. And what we'll look at here next is a clip of Al Green being escorted out of the congressional floor because of his interruption of Donald Trump's speech. Let's go ahead and look at this. So we have an article here. It says, Rep. Al Green to face GOP censure for heckling Trump. Al Green is staring down multiple House Republican censure efforts after he was escorted out of the House chamber for heckling Trump. Joe Wilson was reprimanded in a bipartisan vote for simply shouting "you lie" during then President Obama's speech in 2009, right? Who could forget that? And then it talks about Joe Biden being heckled during the State of the Union. But this was Al Green's response. He says, "If I broke the rules, then I have to be prepared to suffer the consequences. You don't break the rules and then demand you be treated as though nothing ever happened." Green had stood up and shouted that Trump does not have a mandate to cut Medicaid. "I did it because Medicaid is so important to my constituents," he told Axios on Wednesday morning. Let them bring their sanctions, bring them on, he said. So in my opinion, this is exactly what we needed here. Al Green's type of energy, but really the whole party needs to be embodying this sort of energy in unison, right? Because the symbolization of a party acting in unison can be very, very powerful, as I will point out to you here in these examples. So in 2019, the parliament in the Commons chamber in the EU, they shouted at Boris Johnson, shame on you, as Johnson was trying to push through Brexit without any sort of substantial debate. And it led to this very, very chaotic, powerful moment in the Chamber of Commons. So let's go ahead and watch this here.
And to also declare the prorogation of Parliament. Desire the presence of this honourable House.
Really? No. This is not, however, a normal prorogation. It is not typical. It is not standard. It's one of the longest for decades, and it represents, not just in the minds of many colleagues, but huge numbers of people outside, an active executive fiat. Mr. Stewart, if you don't like it, you're perfectly entitled to your view. I couldn't give a flying flamingo what your view is. Thank you very much indeed. On these occasions, when prorogation takes place, if colleagues feel like toddling along this side to shake hands until we meet again, they're very welcome to do so. But it does mean shaking my hand, if you can bear that.
So there's a little example of everyone in Parliament that was in opposition to Brexit acting in unison, chanting "shame on you" as the Conservative Party members exited and refusing to leave the chamber, singing together. And to me, it was a very powerful kind of showing of unity here. And lo and behold, ultimately the Supreme Court did end up finding Johnson's actions to be unlawful, right? They ruled that it was unlawful what Johnson did there. Now, here's one more example of party members acting in unison against an opposition party. When Brexit party members members of European Parliament, they all turned their back at the start of the national anthem to display their opposition to Brexit occurring. Let's go ahead and watch this. So there you have it. Simple, nothing over the top, no shouting required. Simple, powerful imagery that came out of these party members acting together. And I want to give you one more example here when I couldn't find a video of this one, but the Republicans, they mass walked out during Bill Clinton's impeachment trial. In fact, when the lawyers started arguing for Bill Clinton, they all walked out together. And it was sort of it was something that was reported on quite a bit as having symbolism, and the party was showing strength because of them all acting together. And I feel, imagine if last night when Al Green gets escorted out, that all of the Democrats walked out with him. All of them, every single one. Imagine the imagery. Imagine how a powerful message that would send. Imagine if they had turned their backs during the entire speech that Trump gave. It seems like there was room for more coordination and more effort to push back against somebody who is demonizing LGBTQ people, demonizing immigrants, going after poor people of this country, threatening to slash entitlements. I feel like we're not in normal times, and the Democrats need to sort of stop being afraid of what the Republicans are going to say about them, because it seems like the Democrats are wanting to uphold some sort of decorum, some sort of normalcy, to work with the Republicans in some sort of way. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, the Democrats are always going to be blamed for every single thing under the sun by the Republicans, no matter how true it is, no matter if it's 1% true, 5% true. The Republicans are going to find a way to pin blame on the Democrats, on Joe Biden's administration. So really, we need to stop being afraid of backlash from the right, because no matter what we do, they have this sort of system where Trump says something, all of his followers start repeating it, Fox News starts repeating it, and then it's this feedback loop where things get spoken into existence because of this sort of ecosystem of propaganda that exists for the right wing in this country, that the left has absolutely no kind of comparison to what the right has in their propaganda ecosystem. So when that's the reality, I think that you don't have anything to lose by doing something as dramatic as those examples. And I think AOC took the right route here by just not going at all. I mean, she didn't go, and she live tweeted the whole event, basically live fact checking Trump. And I feel that even if the Democrats had all decided to not show at all, that might have been even a better response than basically kind of showing some resistance at the start of Trump's speech. But as the night droned on, and Trump droned on with his lies and half truths and exaggerations, to just sit there and just kind of silently stew at the president doesn't seem like it was an adequate response. And I hope that the Democrats can kind of get some sort of game plan together to how they're going to not only logistically fight back against the Trump administration and be a thorn in the side of Trump as much as possible and block him at every single chance they get, using, you know, whatever means they have, the courts, using, you know, legislation. It seems like they need to get a game plan together as well, how to symbolically and how to form a unifying message against the Trump administration that everybody is on the same page about. Because what Al Green did and what Stansbury did was awesome, but you know, Al Green he's always been one of the most outspoken members against Trump. He was one of the first people to introduce articles of impeachment back in 2019, and he's already drafting articles of impeachment right now for a second time around. So, you know, this, if anybody was to do that sort of thing, you would expect it to be Al Green. And the fact that he did do it, it wasn't necessarily surprising. It was good to see, but we need much more unity, and we need much more of a cohesive sort of response to the lies and misinformation of Donald Trump's administration, because we know it's going to keep coming. It's going to keep coming over and over and over again. And we need to do something about it to push back as a Democratic Party, because people are losing faith in the Democratic Party rapidly. And it's not a good situation, right? At all. And we need to get it together. Seemingly, we haven't learned much since November 5th, and it's frustrating. And I think that the party might need new leadership. We might need to go in different directions and get some fresh voices and fresh faces in the leadership of the Democratic Party if these changes are to occur. They just simply might not happen with the current leadership that we have. So that's all I got for you guys in this one. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with someone who's into politics, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. All right, take care.